Hello, and welcome to the latest episode of Data Unchained. I'm Molly Presley, your host. So what is this Data Unchained podcast all about? As many of you know, the paradigm for data access has changed a lot over the last several years. We've had the advent of new data center technologies, the introduction of the cloud, and now with the proliferation of analytics and AI applications in the world, everything seems to be changing faster every year. In today's decentralized world, getting data to remote workers, distributed applications, high-performance regions, both in the data center and the cloud, can be a real challenge. Data Unchained digs into both the challenges as well as the solutions available to make data an asset available globally. Today's guest is Yan Li. She's the VP of Engineering with a particular focus on flash technologies at Western Digital, and she was also the 2022 Superwoman in Flash Leadership Award recipient at the Flash Memory Summit. Yan, thank you so much for joining us.
It's my pleasure.
As we get started, can you share just a little bit about your background and how you got started on the career path that you're on today?
Sure, glad to. I actually grew up in China when China just started opening the door to the Western culture. I really like the math because of all the puzzles and interesting problems I love to solve. And, it just like many women, I also like arts and literature. I just feel, I'm better in the math side. More importantly, I have a very pushy father, I would say. And since last Sunday is the Father's Day, I can illustrating from my experience, the father's role or any parent's role is such a significant contributor or to the child career, even though, my father passed away a long time ago, but he actually is a key propeller for my career in science and technology because he really pushed me to excel what I'm good at it. When I was young, I'm only good at math. I wasn't good at anything else. But he keeps saying, why don't you push forward for, do a little bit more and do more advanced math and be ahead of everybody in the class. And he's really keep pushing me. And also he's really trained my character when I was young. And he always woke me up at, early morning to run the 2,000 meters. And even though I have to walk 45 minutes to school, and it's every day. So he trained me and really molded me to be resilient and have good endurance and really persistent on what I should do. And that's really the foundation of build a career. Career is not just you being smart to study something, but you have to really have the character to be persistent, to keep pursuing your career and keep doing it. And what your dream is, you just keep doing on and on. That's how it is. And all these years. And his training for me to run has lasted many years to be my habit of, even I don't have much time and sometimes I do little short run to really release the stress and looking at things in a different perspective. So I really appreciate, my father as one of my early mentor in my career to mold me and to be the person I am.
Definitely should never underestimate the influence of being a parent. And I'm certain that he'd be very proud to know that his guidance and, his memory lives on in you. It definitely is reflected in your success. That's really great. Thanks for sharing that. So can you tell me a little bit about, I mentioned this Superwoman in Flash award that you were honored to be recognized with in 2022. And that's very competitive. A lot of amazing companies and amazing women get submitted for that award. Can you tell us, amongst all the recognitions you've had, the patents that you have in Flash, what are you most proud of?
So I'm just very lucky to be in this industry since 1998. So starting in 2000, flash memory actually has transitioned from a niche product to ubiquitous use in everything from smartphone to data center. Along with many able colleagues, has opportunity to put multiple enhancement into the flash design and technology. One of the significant contribution I was mention is called orbit line architecture, which enabled aggressive physical and logical scaling, and in turn created a successful product and grow the company and industry.
Okay. And I think that for a lot of folks, it's always interesting to learn, what was your career path into this role? Were you always focused in university and to a career like this, or did you kind of take a different path into the position you're in today?
Actually, my career is very accidental. Actually, I was tried to be in academia when I was in Ph.D. program, but it just semiconductor is booming back then. When I was graduating, and I actually had a hard time to find a job, so I was just bumping into this job. It's because SanDisk was back then it's a SanDisk, so we were actually struggling with the NOR technology back then. My physics and material science background actually fits very well with the flash memory, since most of the mechanism is related to device physics. So after I joined the SanDisk for 2 years back then, we also jumped onto the NAND, where we joined the venture with back then it's called Toshiba Semiconductor. Since then, I have been working on the flash side, go through all the highs and lows. This industry is very cyclical. Even right now, we are in the valley at this moment, in the trough.
So in your role as a VP of engineering in a company, very focused on a hardware product, what does your job look like? Are you primarily doing design? Do you get involved with the fabs? Is there a lot of software involved? Can you talk just a little bit more about kind of the scope of responsibilities you're overseeing?
I see. So my job actually evolving over the years. When I joined the SanDisk many years ago, I was doing failure analysis. Failure analysis just figure out what's the fail in the chip and try to figure out how to fix it. And later on, I was transitioned to design. So what I'm trying to do, like one of the early invention I mentioned, is circuit design and creating a new circuit to do the sensing. And then I did lots of leading projects after projects. I did many successful execution of the projects. And then I'm migrating to more managerial, leading the team, and did lots of roadmap strategy, think about what's the future chips supposed to be. And also I served in some technical function, for example, how to get our next generation faster and better. Innovation is used to be one of my focus, and I led many like a campaign for innovation. For example, Innovation Bazaar is one of them. And right now, even currently, I'm running some hackathon to really stimulating the innovation. But my daily job actually is I transitioned from design to technology just last year. So the job is to keep evolving. So I kind of was doing my 20 years of design work. But I think right now the most challenging for the NAND, especially 3D NAND technology, is more on the process side. So I kind of transitioned to the process technology, which involves with the fab, how to make things. But, flash memory is a kind of unique thing. We don't really use a foundry, and we use our own fab, and we kind of define everything ourselves. For example, what's the design rule, what's the line width, and what is the transistor you're going to use every generation. And even what's the memory transistor, you have to kind of define all by yourself. And that's the part I'm working on, is how to produce the cell, which can, have a better function. And also how to make sure the 3D NAND memory would not consume that much capex. And also my team also working on the CMOS improvement, how to make it run faster at higher I/O speed. Although right now my team is more on the modeling side rather than design. So I'm kind of migrating from different roles within the same company.
It's fascinating to look at the different parts of the industry as we look at how the industry is moving and at what a pace data is being generated and all the things we need to do at every layer of a workflow to be able to accommodate that. From your perspective, can you talk a little bit about what is moving fastest? You said we're in a bit of a trough right now. Maybe talk a little bit about what that means. And then what is moving fastest? What's the current state of innovation?
Currently, actually, we are in the trough because, we were actually in the COVID time, we were actually have a big data center boom. Everybody order lots of things, expecting lots of data. We're in the trough is also because somebody over ordering for the past couple of years, and they start up things, and suddenly they feel they have lots of inventory they have to consume. On the other hand, the flash memory always go up and downs because sometimes we produce too many bits and the industry cannot consume. But fundamentally, this industry is very solid because, we create so many video and photos, emails, social medias every day, and you have lots of data to store. On the other hand, AI have to learn from all this data. Before, we probably cannot store everything we're generating. We have to discarding something after like a month, or even some video discarded after a few hours. I can imagine, AI and machine learning will make every video is a valuable learning materials. So they have to store up more. So the challenge right now, the big challenge is how we can store these data with some inexpensive solution. Building big data center is very costly, and we are trying hard to reduce the expense of making the solid state memory, and also reduce all kinds of storage at this time. Well, definitely AI and big data is all very important and all very fast moving. And the data industry, the data storage industry overall is a very fascinating field. Although we are the brick and mortar of the industry, we are not on the top of the pyramid, but we are at the foundation of building the data center. But we are really at the cutting edge because we always have to think about the innovation, how to make things less expensive, and very essential to fund the future cloud.
Absolutely. I'm curious on AI as that topic came up. Do you use AI internally at WD? Do you use it in your development processes at all?
Yeah, we do use lots of AI, but in a very specific way. We don't have lots of people or images to identify, but we do have lots of engineering tasks to really do. That's also bring in lots of potential of AI and machine learning, how we're going to use it. Lots of people think AI and machine learning is lots of hype, really not too much application. At this stage, still we are at the entry level, how to use AI and machine learning. For engineering company, there's lots of things that we are exploring. For example, we use the image AI to really identify some of the pictures in our manufacture flow or in our research R&D flow. Instead of manually measure the shape of the memory cell and all these dimensions, because we are doing 3D NAND, it's very complicated 3D structure. So how to analyze the structure, how to see from a cross-section to predicting the quality of the memory is very hard. Another thing that we want to really improve the efficiency of the job is we try to reduce the human resource. We have too many manual things we have to really convert it to AI and machine learning. There's lots of small things. it's not a huge things it's not like a one solution you solve all your problem. It's almost like hundreds of small things, and you have to think about how to use the AI and machine learning to plug into what you do in every day. So this is an important thing I see is AI, machine learning, and you build a model. Maybe only a few company will do the training and build the model, but maybe millions of people are going to use the model in their everyday life. And then they can really solve their small problems every day. So we try to use somebody's other people's model. They already trained, they already formulated the model and convert it to what we can use in our engineering field. We saw lots of small challenges that we have to solve. And that's really fascinating. That also means we need an engineer who has the domain knowledge to solve the problem. We cannot just use a data scientist, say, hey, give me the data, I'll give you something useful. That's not true anymore. We needed somebody understand what they're looking for. We call them domain knowledge expert. The engineers work in this field for like many, many years, and they know what's important. And then they converting this domain knowledge into something they say, okay, AI and machine learning can help us. So that's how we are doing this conversion. I see the trend is changing as instead of a big model, just one application. I see people using AI, machine learning in many different ways, small ways and here and there, but it's really accumulatively is dramatic.
Absolutely. So one of the things I think is very exciting about the space that we both mutually work in is it is always changing and there is a lot of innovation. If you were talking to folks, maybe they're looking at a career change, they're coming out of university and looking at what kind of education they need, what recommendation would you give them on where to focus?
Well, since I'm a very biased, I'm engineering background, and I would definitely the STEM, and STEM is the foundation of everything. For example, I major in physics. Physics doesn't seem so useful any longer. It feels like this is very mature field and nothing you can invent there. But the physics actually is the foundation of things. I would say, math and physics and computer science, even some of the bio and chemistry is all very foundation for have a very good engineering career. I see lots of people, the big data mainly use mathematics, but this is only one part of the things. And for example, semiconductor use lots of physics and use lots of chemistry. The way we are, making our memory cell is lots of chemistry involved and lots of mechanical modeling. My team actually doing lots of structural and chemical simulation. So it's like when you're making something solid, you really need a lots of knowledge in physics and chemistry and mechanical structure analysis. These are all very useful field for semiconductor. Semiconductor is definitely booming all over the world. People realize you cannot just have a software without the hardware and supporting this activity. We are still far from finishing the job in semiconductor because we do need a much more powerful chip to supporting our AI and machine learning. And you can see the most booming company are NVIDIA and AMD nowadays because they are really making the chip that people use to make the AI happen, to make the AI really. We are just at the beginning of AI, and we need a much more powerful chips. But making the chips involves so much science and engineering and a combination of everything together. The chips is getting more complicated to make, and we are making 3D transistors, and we are trying to stack up all different chips together. This really need fundamentally, lots of people from the background of training of physics, chemistry, mechanical, and things like that. I'm not too familiar with the bio side, but we have somebody looking into protein memory storage. That's
Yes,
really needed. Lots
DNA
of biology.
storage and things like
DNA,
that.
yeah, that's true. So lots of new field and very lots of exciting things to come.
So I'd be curious, both you and I have invested time in women leadership and things like the Women in Flash group at FMS. When you look at a high-tech company like WD, what is the opportunity for women in just starting their careers?
I think this is a very good time for women engineers. We have lots of company really fostering the diversity in the program. And for example, WDC is very emphasizing the woman engineer and grow them and let them climb up the ladder and help them to really grow and take more responsibility. I think lots of companies also pay more attention to really getting the woman engineer to be step forward and really to take more responsibility. I think the main challenge certainly facing the woman is, the networking, I would say. We always feel there is a, boys club, we couldn't get in. I think that's no longer true. You just need maybe more step out and to really stretch yourself to socializing with a man and a woman. Although, engineering field is majority is a man, we have to really go out of our way to really make lots of network, make friends and make alliances. And even in the innovation field, it is more people you can brainstorm together to get more ideas out of it. And so that's the thing I would say if you just starting your career, looking not only advancing your technical know-how, but also grow in personal skills. For example, networking and also leadership skills, how to really make your communication skills better, not trapped in your own world, but stepping out to stretch yourself to make more friends and alliance and talk to your managers and show them your ambition to progress. And that will goes a long way. Also, find a mentor is also important. Also, the mentor may not be all woman, and you can seek in man as a mentor, and you can learn from their advice, and be brave and be curious, and that's also very important. I really am. My role model is Lisa Su, AMD CEO, and she's also from very engineering background and got her Ph.D. at a young age in MIT, and then she has been going through so much challenges and revive AMD. That's a fascinating story. We have a many role model in the field now. So woman engineer just need to really learn from those model and really step forward to really stretch yourself.
I wrote down a quote from you when we were doing one of these prep calls about being brave and pursuing your goals. And I like that. I think that as you talk about, things have changed a little bit in the landscape from my perspective as well, that the opportunities and open-mindedness to women in these roles is, I think, quite high. But you also have to take on yourself to be brave and step into those opportunities. And it can be intimidating. And I think, maybe if you wouldn't mind, while you summarized it a bit at the beginning of the conversation, talking through your career and kind of some of those changes and those moments where you had to be brave and, really take control of your opportunities at WD. Would you mind summarizing a little bit about that?
Sure. I think I want to give one example. Sometimes a woman tends to think too hard, to very, very sensitive to what other people's comment. Actually, my first career breakthrough, it was, when my boss is saying, "Oh, we're gonna make the first industry first 3 bits per cell." He was thinking to hire outsider to manage the project. And I said, how about me? I think I'm very qualified, and I know this thing for I have a lots of innovation, and I have a lots of experience leading the previous team, and I think I can do it. So I think just don't overthinking. Oh, he doesn't select me. Probably he think I'm not qualified. I think this is overthinking. I think sometimes you have to be brave. Just say, how about I step up, take the responsibility, and end up I made that project very successful. This is also my career breakthrough. And after that, people trust me to be able to do things, to be able to shoulder bigger responsibility. So that's something. Do need to be brave. You don't want to overthinking. What if somebody not really appreciate my capability? Sometimes you just need to say, hey, I need to take a bigger responsibility. I need to step up. I need to really tell the people I'm really willing to do it.
I think that's great. And like you say, sometimes it's a flywheel. You just need that one success, and then it goes from there. And I think probably all of us have seen that in others as well as our own careers. And I think that's a great example. And maybe as we're tying things up, you could talk a little bit about, for those who are struggling to find that opportunity, that place to raise their hand, how would you suggest that people leverage mentors or become mentors to help others? What are the kind of calls to action you would give to folks listening to this podcast that want to help?
Well, I think willing to help is already one step forward. I really applaud this thinking of helping out. Helping out is have many ways, and you if you are in a company, you even as a coworker, you can stretch out yourself to collaborate with some minority or woman engineer. I was really think there's many forms of coaches and mentors in the company. Even me, I didn't really have a formal mentor for many years, and I just have lots of coworkers, and we always chat about it. And certainly, even my first patent is some of the my friend in the company saying, "Hey, you seem to have a good idea here. Why don't we write a patent together?" So I think the helping is a start from lots of little things. And you can intentionally stretch your hand out to say, hey, how about I help you a little bit here and there, and encourage people on why don't you work on this, or this is a really good idea. How about we work together to do something? So, and as a woman engineer, or if they have a hard time to find the opportunity to really step up. And that's where maybe you can really stretch yourself to networking a little bit more, to looking for opportunity. Opportunity always comes when you really open your eyes and also ask around, ask people what kind of opportunity might have, and make lots of friends, and even ask people if they can be your mentor. Sometimes a mentor is a two-way. You have to help people, and they will help you. Especially, I feel the mentor is most helpful is they can really observe your behavior. They can really see you in your action. They can give you very constructive feedback and let you correct yourself. But on the other hand, mentor is sort of exhausting role. Normally, if you only give out without really receiving some benefit of friendship, sometimes it really exhausts you at work. I have some long-term, like a mentor relationship with a few of coworker, I think they also gave me very constructive feedback, analyze my situation for me. This is like a two-way mentor that's actually lasting for years as a friendship. And also sometimes the company also can help you to sign upper level management as your mentor. This is some company do this all the time now. You can find some really the people who has a lot more experience and lots of personal skills to learn from, and this is also a good way to do it. For the people who are willing to do the mentor, I think you don't have to be formal program. And I did lots of mentoring at work. I just say, hey, let's chat a little bit, and this is what I see your situation, and give a little bit constructive feedback. But certainly this has to base on you have a really good foundation of friendship. You can really give them constructive feedback. So on the other hand, if you're willing to help, always have tons of people really need help to chat. And this goes a long way. I'm also doing some more professionally, like formal mentorship for women, like Global Silicon Alliance have this woman in hardware mentorship. We've running the first year, very structured curriculum, very good people leading the project. I'm just one of the mentor. We have a meeting every month, and I think we can really help other women in their mid-careers, and they have a very good platform to grow from their company, and they just need have somebody to analyze, dissecting their situation for them, to help them, based on other people's experience, and give them some suggestions. This really goes a long way. I feel this project has been very successful.
It's so exciting to hear companies creating formal structure for those who maybe are a little less comfortable creating the one-to-one opportunity. So that's great to hear. We'll include a link to the GSA Women Leadership Initiative in the show notes for anyone who's interested in becoming part of that. And then I know you mentioned that you were going to be on a panel at Flash Memory Summit. That's August 8th through 10th is that event overall. Do you know the details of that panel if people wanted to sit in on it?
Well, I think we're going to do a little bit career-oriented panel, try to talk about if you're starting the career and what's a path could be. We're going to invite in diversified panel, maybe some people from engineering become a marketer, from engineering, from strategists, or some, or just rising up from the engineering career, and from different perspective, just to give you some perspective how people grow their career. That's the intention of this panel. And this is the first year. We don't know how it's going to come out, but I think this is really a good idea from Chuck, the organizer of Flash Memory Summit. And I'm just trying to host the panel, maybe supporting this panel to really have a very useful conversation, and also get to know lots of young rising star from the different companies.
Awesome. So both Yan and I will also be at the Superwoman and Flash event at Flash Memory Summit. If you are attending, that's up in the Bay Area, August 8th through 10th. Look up that event as well. And certainly we'd love to say hello to you in person and have a chance to meet the people who listen to this show and hear your feedback on, the conversation and what you're experiencing out in the world. Yan, thank you for taking the time to join this podcast. I know you are busy. You're a great person for the conversation, both on the technology as well as, some of the topical focus on women in engineering this month. So thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening to Data Unchained, powered by Hammerspace. To learn more, visit hammerspace.com. If you have a guest you would like to hear on the show, email me at molly@hammerspace.com.